It was the spring of 1979. I was 16. I never forget how I stood in line, trembling at the water's edge, clustering with my mom and my 4 younger siblings, waiting to board on this overcrowded, rickety boat, along with 500 other people. Dad was already boarded to help out with the crew. A man shouted out to me, "Young lady, you go down to the lower deck. Only small children, their moms, and the elders are allowed to be on the main deck." Reluctantly, I parted with my family. Now the boat was jam-packed. Everyone sat quietly on this cold, hard floor, hugging their knees. There's nothing for them to lean on except each other's back. No one dared to make a sound. They know at any minute now they could be captured by the government and thrown into prison, or worse, sent to the hard labor camp. Down the lower deck, I sat shivering among strangers as I choked on my fear and felt suffocated by this saturated diesel fume under a dim light. I was scared and alone. The air was thick and heavy as the boat glided toward the international water in the Gulf of Thailand. You see, we were the boat people who fled Vietnam. When night fell, I crept through the dark to be on the upper deck with Mom. I looked at this beautiful black sky with thousands of shining stars on it, and I thought to myself, is this really happening? I asked Mom, "Mom, are we gonna die on this boat? We're now countryless, homeless, at the point of no return. We left behind the only world we have ever known, the only home I have ever had. For what?" Mom looked at me and softly she said, "For survival and freedom." Survival and freedom. Now, what would you do if there's a natural disaster or a man-made disaster, like war or terrorism, that turn your world upside down? How would you go on to rebuild your life, your future? I was shocked how quickly my world, my future had changed after the fall of Saigon in 1975. The new Vietnamese government turned hostile toward its Chinese immigrants. The discrimination and oppression were palpable. You see, my family is Chinese. My grandparents have fled China to Vietnam as immigrants only decades before. And history seems like it's repeating itself. The communists ransacked our home, confiscated our business, and sent many people away to the uncultivated land in the countryside. And school was just a breeding ground for propaganda. I was taught to spy on my parents, so they took me out of school. And because of that hopelessness, my parents risked everything they have and took a huge gamble for a chance of hope for their children. And fleeing the country was the only best option, just like their parents did before them. Now, when the sun peeked over the horizon the next day, someone spotted a moving object from a distance. We were all excited and chased after that boat, hoping to get rescue. When we got closer, they jumped to our boat with guns. We had no idea we were chasing after pirates. They robbed everything they could find on us, destroyed the water and the food supply, and left us with a feeling of gut-wrenching loss of hope. But the worst was not yet over. We were assaulted 3 more times in the next few days. And in one of the raids, two of their big boats sandwiches our little boat in the middle and forcing us off and onto their boat for a thorough search. I was panicked because in a split second, my family was divided in 3 different boats, 3 different directions. A sheer horror ran through my head. I wasn't sure that they're going to abduct me, rape me, or kill me. Now, from the far end of the boat, I heard a woman scream hysterically, for she's being strip searched and humiliated in front of the whole entire boat. I was petrified. I'd held on tight to the guardrail of the boat and promising myself I would jump to the ocean if they ever violate me. Now, a young pirate with a screwdriver in his hand approached me and said something I didn't understand. Suddenly, he slapped me and motioned me to open my mouth where I had hidden a gold ring under my tongue. He took the ring angrily, slapped me again, but then moved to the next person. I was released, but yet paralyzed at the same time. That gruesome moment still burned into my memory and haunt me to this day. Now, by the 5th day, the people on the boat were exhausted from dehydration and starvation. The stench of the vomit and the raw humanity was sickening. The boat was stranded with a broken engine, with no compass. We were drifted directionless in the South China Sea, waiting for the wave to swallow us. But in the deepest of despair, miracles do happen. An oil rig appeared out of nowhere and saved us. They fixed the boat, gave us some food, and pointed us to the closest refugee camp. The remote island of Indonesia became our home and home of tens of thousands of boat people refugees in the following months. Malaria almost took my life, yet I survived, and we found our way to America. But I guess they didn't read my application because specifically I asked to go to Hawaii, and they sent us all the way to Minnesota, where the cold land but warm-hearted people there opened their arms and welcomed us to this beautiful country. In America, I tried hard to assimilate to this new country, new land, new language. But I was trapped in the parallel universe of 2 cultures, divided by an ocean of East and West. I didn't know who I was. I'm not Vietnamese. Didn't feel so much like a Chinese either. And absolutely, I'm not an American. I was lost, confused. I didn't feel belong. And there's a famous saying that whatever didn't kill you makes you stronger. And I wish it had applied for me, but it wasn't. And even though I was a successful research chemist and have a beautiful family of my own after college, I continued to survive, not live to the fullest potential. I let the guardrail, I let the fear hold me hostage from exploring my passion. I let the guardrail become my security gate. But for the courage I didn't have, I watched and learned from my American counterparts, who always inspire me with courage every day, especially from a dear friend named Vanessa. Life was never a dull moment for Vanessa. Always exploring, always daring, and always overcoming fear with conviction. no regrets. I watched how Vanessa used her courage to stand up for the weak, advocate for the shy, and take care of the sick. I craved and wanted some of that courage. Her courage prevailed even at her last breath, fighting with cancer at the age of 47. She was in control, not fear. Vanessa taught me that life is not what I had been in the past, but it's where I want to be in the future. And to do that, I had to let go of the fear that still confined me in that boat. I have to let go of that guardrail, and no matter how slow, maybe even just one finger at a time. And sometimes the smallest things makes the biggest change. I start to venture out of my comfort zone. I talk to strangers. I joined Toastmaster and learned to speak up. I found my own voice. I even took a boat trip to the ocean to confront with fear. And like Amy Cuddy has said, don't fake it until you make it. Fake it until you become it. So that's what I decided to do. I became the best imposter of my new version. And like eating potato chips, I find courage is very addicting. Would you care to try some? Do you have a fear that's holding you back? Do you have an invisible guardrail that you're not even aware of? For me, it was letting go of that 17 years of corporate paycheck. A secure life with full security, full benefits. I volunteered for a layoff to start my business, to become a risky solopreneur. I'm telling you, it was so scary, yet it was exciting and the most exhilarating times in my life. I have finally crossed over that guardrail. I'm no longer surviving. I had a real taste of freedom. And it's just like magic. Courage did not just take me places. It had helped me heal the wound from the past. And who would have thought it even took me to the stage so I can share my story with you today. Now, starting over in America is the dream that not every refugee can achieve. I can assure you that. And I was blessed that I didn't miss the boat that granted me this physical freedom. But it was up to me to fix that broken spirit. And I'm happy to say that the reason that I'm so passionate and so madly in love with my life right now, not because I don't have fear, but because I make an effort to practice courage every day. And the truth is, we all have some sort of trauma and tragic moments in our lives. We don't automatically get stronger because we're experiencing more trauma. We get stronger because we make a choice of mastering our fear with courage. And I know it is hard to do on our own sometime, but look around for inspiration. Look for people who can inspire you so you can model after them. Or perhaps you are or can be that source of inspiration, that someone like a refugee, like a homeless person, or like a domestic violence victim, or a student to model after you. But regardless of what you do, please do not let fear disguise as a comfort place and hold you back. I encourage you to hop on the boat of opportunity, to bypass that guardrail, and propel your life, your future, with courage. Thank you.